A very good afternoon. It's the 20th of February 2023. Welcome to the Lunchtime News here on TV1 for the Newsfirst team, where the people come first. I'm Sanita Sena Nayak. Before we take a look at the stories that we've got for you this afternoon in detail, let's take a look at the headlines. Writ application filed seeking to invalidate the preparations being made for the local government election to be taken up on the 23rd of February 2023. Opposition seeks divine intervention for elections.
ජනතාවගේ ඡන්ද අයිතිය ලබා ගන්න අතුරු අපි මේ සටන නතර කරන්නේ නැහැ.
PAFREL proposes a special program to fund the local government elections.
මතු කරන්නේ මේ මූල්‍ය සාධකේ නම් අපි මේ සතිය තුල බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සෙසු කණ්ඩායම් සමගත් සාකච්ඡා කරලා අරමුදල් සම්පාදනය කර ගැනීමට.
Bus falls into deep precipice in Hatton, killing 3 people. New Zealand crushes Sri Lanka to keep semi-final hopes alive in Women's T20 World Cup.
Sri Lanka's election headquarters.
On to your top story this evening. A writ application filed by retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijayasundara seeking an order to invalidate the preparations being made for the local government election will be taken up on the 23rd of February 2023. The matter was called up in the presence of Justices S. Tureraja and Shiran Gunaratne on Monday.
Retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijayasundara filed a motion with the Supreme Court seeking this application to be taken up ahead of the 23rd of February. President's Counsel Salia Piris, appearing for the National Election Commission, making submissions to the court, noted that as the postal vote will not go ahead as planned on the 23rd of February, the matter can be taken up on that date as previously scheduled. As no objections were raised by the petitioner and the intermediaries, the matter will be taken up on the 23rd of February 2023. President's Counsel Salia Piris said he is looking forward to file a motion before the court on Monday to present facts regarding the obstacles to hold the election.
බලන්න මේ රටේ කේදවාචකේ නීතිපතිතුමා කරන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවට ඕන වැඩේ. මුද්‍රණාධිපතිතුමා කරන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවට ඕන වැඩේ.
Look at what has happened in the country today. The Attorney General is doing what the government wants. The government printer is functioning as per the wishes of the government. The IGP is acting according to the government. The Finance Ministry is listening to the President. Today, the people's opinion is disregarded. That is the problem in this country today. They are nurturing the background for a second Aragale to take place. That will take time, but the second Aragale will arise.
දෙවන අරගලයා තමයි ඉස්සරහට එන්නේ කියන එක තමයි මට පේන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, a group from the Samagi Jana Balavege engaged in a religious ritual today, opposing the attempts to postpone the local government elections.
A group from the SJP arrived at the Kala Oya Ganadevi temple in Anuradhapura and urged the government to hold the local government election.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ පින් ජනාධිපතිට ගෙදර යන්න වේවා ගෙදර යන්න වේවා ගෙදර යන්න වේවායි කියලා මේ මැතිවරණය පවත්වන්න තව දින කිහිපයයි තියෙන්නේ. ආණ්ඩුවේ There
are only a few more days for the election. The government is trying to obstruct the election. We urge the President to not obstruct the elections, hold the elections on time. It is the President who is trying to prevent the election from happening. If you are trying to obstruct the election, we will not stop our struggle until the people get their right to vote.
ජනතාවගේ ඡන්ද අයිතිය ලබා ගන්න අතුරු ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී අයිතිවාසිකම ලබා ගන්න අතුරු අපි මේ සටන නතර කරන්නේ නැහැ.
Afterwards, the group left to take part in the protest in Colombo, organised by the Samagi Jana Balavege this morning.
The Samagi Jana Balavege is preparing to protest in Colombo, citing government attempts to delay the election. The Colombo Chief Magistrate, Prasanna Alvis, rejected a request made by police to issue an order preventing the SJB-led protest from entering several roads within the Cinnamon Garden Police jurisdiction. The Cinnamon Gardens Police made the request from the court, citing that offices, residences, schools and foreign missions are located in the said area and the protests could inconvenience the public visiting those places. The Chief Magistrate noted that if the protesters are conducting themselves in a manner that causes inconveniences to the public, police can use necessary force to prevent those events from taking place and a court order is not necessary. Thereby, the request was turned down. Meanwhile, Fort Magistrate issued an order on the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya and several others, preventing them from entering several areas including the President's Office, Finance Ministry and Galle Face from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday. At the same time, Sri Lanka police would be taking measures to prevent inconveniences from being caused to the public using the following roads. From Galle Face roundabout to NSA roundabout in the Fort Police jurisdiction. From NSA roundabout to Chaitya Road, from NSA roundabout to Janadipati Mawatha, and from NSA roundabout to Lotus Tower, from CTO Junction to the Bank of Ceylon Mawatha, from the Bank of Ceylon Mawatha to York Street.
The citizens of the struggle movement engaged in a silent protest opposite the UN office in Colombo, seeking their position on the delay in local government elections. The group handed over a letter to the UN office in Colombo citing their issues. Newsfirst correspondent said that they engaged in a satyagraha opposite the UN office for about an hour.
අපි එක්සත් ජාතික සංවිධානයෙන් ඍජු විමසීමක් කරනවා ලංකාව එක්සත් ජාතික සංවිධානයේ
We pose a direct question from the UN. As a UN member, what is the state of Sri Lanka's democracy if the President's government and President are taking measures to delay the election? We will not allow the President and the government to crush the democracy of the country.
මේ රටේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ බුල්ඩෝසර් කරන අපි ඊට තියන්නේ නැහැ.
In more news related to the local government election, the Executive Director of PAFRL, Rohan Hettiarachchi, says discussions will be held with other factions to acquire the funds required to hold the election.
මේක ඊළඟ පියවර තමයි මේ සීමා නිර්ණය ඉදිරියට ගෙනෙමින් මැතිවරණ කල් දැමීමට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. නිසා විවිධ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග නැත්නම් විවිධ අලුත් යෝජනා එකතු කරමින් ඉදිරි ජනාධිපතිවරණය දක්වා මේ සියලු මැතිවරණ හැකිලීමක් සිදු කරන්න තමයි මේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම අපි ආණ්ඩුවට මතක් කරන්න කැමතියි ඔබ මතු කරන්නේ මේ මූල්‍ය සාධකේන.
The next step is the postponement of the election using delimitation. Therefore, this attempt is to postpone this election until the next presidential election using various proposals. We have engaged in discussions with other factions as well. Within this, we hope to formulate the funds required for this election. The government has spent more than 500 million rupees of public funds on its political projects. Can public funds be spent on operating a political faction like this? Who is responsible for this? The NEC functioned as per the constitution. When the election was announced, none of the state institutions said they cannot issue funds for it. Against such a backdrop, all these attempts are being made to obstruct the elections. The government tried to prevent the election from being announced. After spending a considerable amount, if they are obstructing the election, they must be held responsible for it.
එවැනි වැටපිටාවක මැතිවරණ කොමිසම සභාව මේ මැතිවරණය සඳහා ක්‍රියාත්මක වුණාට පස්සේ තමයි මේ සියලු කාරණා මතුවෙමින් තිබෙන්නේ. ආණ්ඩුව උත්සාහ කළේ මැතිවරණය ප්‍රකාශයට පත්වීම ලක්වන්නට. හැබැයි ප්‍රකාශයට පත් වුණාට පස්සේ දැන් මුදල් යම් ප්‍රමාණයකට සැලකිය යුතු මුදලක් වියදම් කළාට පසුව මේ මැතිවරණය ආපසු හකුලනවා නම් ඒ මැතිවරණයට බාධා කරන පිරිස් මේ යන වියදම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් වගකිය යුතු වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, several views regarding the postponement of the local government election were expressed in the political arena.
මේ වෙනකොට කවදාවත් නැති විදිහේ අමුතුම සෙල්ලමක් මේ මැතිවරණය වෙනුවෙන් ආණ්ඩුව දියක්.
The government is following an unprecedented policy regarding the election. The government knew that if the election were to take place, both the UNP and the SLPP will suffer a massive defeat. They knew the best alternative they had was to postpone the election by any means. This is a government that doesn't have 30 billion to spend for the election, but they are telling people to be patient until the country is developed. Therefore, no matter how much they try to postpone the election through tricks, you must provide an answer to this problem on the day of the election.
ආපු ගමන් තමුන්නාන්සේලා ඡන්ද පොරට ගිහිල්ලා උත්තරයක් දිය යුතු තිබෙනවා.
ඡන්දේ නවත්තන්න නීතිය දැන් ඉඩ නැහැ. දැන් තියෙන්නේ කඩාකප්පල්කාරී.
The law does not permit the election to be postponed. Now they are being disruptive. They are afraid when the people are preparing for the election. Once the entire country casts their vote on the 9th, the results will be issued on the 10th. After that, Ranil and the Rajapakshas cannot say they are in power with a mandate. They know that they can't stay in power for long.
ජනවරමක් නෑ යන්න. ඒ නිසා දන්නවා එතනින් පස්සේ ඉන්න වෙන්නේ නෑ ගොඩක් කල්.
ජනතාව මේ අමාරුවට පත් කළේ මේ රට බංකොලොත් කමාවට පත් කරපු ඒ වැඩිකාරයින්ව ගැලවුම්කාරයෙක් හැටියට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ.
He is a president who was appointed by those who led this country to bankruptcy. As he is their savior, he is afraid of the election. For them, contesting an election is like taking a mad canine for a bath. That is the situation. The governance is also the same. So they are not ready for the election and are trying to take away the rights of the people. The people must oppose this. They may postpone the local government, provincial council and even the parliamentary election. If attempts are being made to do away with democratic rights, the people must be against it.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු ජනාධිපති ඡන්දත් කල් දාන්න පුළුවන් ඉඳගෙන මේ විදියට තමුන්නාස්ගේ අයිතිය ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී උරුමය හකුලන්න කටයුතු කරනවා නම් අපි ඒකට විරෝධය පළ කළ යුතුව තිබෙනවා.
මේ නීති අමුමුවෙන් උල්ලංඝනය කරනවා සදාචාරය අමුමුවෙන් උල්ලංඝනය කරමින් ඉන්නවා ඇත්තටම රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ.
They are clearly violating the law. This is morally wrong. The government, including Ranil Wickremesinghe, shouldn't play games like this. After being selected by 134 MPs, how can you play games like this? The people are asking for an opportunity to exercise their franchise so that they can chase this group away. They play games with the people at the time when the people are eagerly waiting to remove them from power. The SLPP is saying they will win and that there is no issue. Then they are saying they oppose the move to postpone the election. If so, who has done it? Did the people do it?
ඡන්දේ කල් දාන එකට එහෙනම් මේ කරලා තියෙන්නේ කවුද? කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ පසුබිමේ ඉන්න ජනතාවද?
Meanwhile, the Navalanka Freedom Party held its inaugural public rally for the local government election in Mathugama. Former Sri Lankan President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga attended the event as well.
දැන් තියෙනවානේ මේ ඡන්දයක් තියෙනවා කිව්වනේ මේ ඡන්දේ තියෙන කියනකොටම මම ප්‍රකාශයක් දුන්නා මාධ්‍යයට රනිල්.
An election has been declared. However, when it was announced, I told the media that Ranil will not allow for the election to take place because those in the SLPP cannot even step into the villages. They cannot gather 10 people for their canvassing. So given such a situation, the government cannot go ahead with an election. Not only did Ranil postpone the election, he looted the bonds placed for the election.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ අපි ඔක්කොටම තරු 20 වෙන්න ටොක්ක්ක් ගන්න. ඡන්දේ කල් දානවා විතරක් නෙවෙයි රනිල් ලොක්කා අපි බැඳපු අප මුදල් වලටත් වැඩේ දුන්නා. දැන් ලොක්කට හරි නෑ කියනවනේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ දෙකම කරා.
කොහොමද අද අපි මෙච්චර මංකොලොත් වෙලා ඉන්නේ? වචන දෙකයි තුනයි තියෙන්නේ ඒකට උත්තරේ. හරියට හරි හොරා කාලා.
Why are we bankrupt like this? It can be summed up in a few words. The country was looted in broad daylight. The Rajapaksa looted the country with no limit. They siphoned off funds from every project. If the Norachole power plant that was first launched under my government was allowed to be operated as per our plan, a need would never have arisen to impose power cuts. The expressways were launched by my government. They cancelled the original tenders and awarded the contracts for double the amount. So from these projects, the Rajapaksas have looted 15 billion rupees. They were not happy with the Bandaranaike International Airport, so they went and built the Rajapaksa International Airport, where planes don't even land. They built a port, but no vessels dock there. They made money from everything. That is why our country is completely bankrupt.
අන්න ඒ නිසා පවණයි මිත්‍රවරුනි අද රට නැත්තටම නැති වෙලා බංකොලොත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
A protest demanding the electricity tariffs be reduced was held in Akmimana yesterday.
The protest was held in Keselgashena in Akmimana. The protesters demanded the high electricity tariffs be reduced.
Society of Government Pharmacists say before declaring the health service as an essential service, sufficient stocks of medicines and medical equipment must be available at hospitals. The chairman of the Society of Government Pharmacists, Ajit P. Tilakaratne, expressed the following views.
රජය විසින් ඉටු කළ යුතු යුතුයකම් සහ වගකීම් ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ තමයි ප්‍රමාණවත් ඖෂධ සහ වෛද්‍ය සැපයීම් ප්‍රමාණයක් සෞඛ්‍ය සේවා.
There is a set of responsibilities the government must fulfill. One of them is providing the required amount of medicines and medical equipment to the health service. Salaries and bonuses must be paid for the employees of the health service. The government is not fulfilling both these responsibilities. Recently, Secretary to the Health Ministry issued a circular cutting the overtime allowances by 15%. As of today, not a single piece of plaster is in hospitals. Basic requirements like cotton are not in hospitals. Medicines for diabetes and high blood pressure and locally manufactured medicines are not being received by the Health Ministry. Patients are helpless due to the shortage of insulin. Against such a backdrop, they have declared the health service as an essential service. This is a joke.
ඉන්සියුලින් කියන ඖෂධය නොමැතිවීමෙන් රෝගීන් ඉතා විශාල අසරණභාවයන්ට පත් වෙමින් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මෙවැනි තත්ත්වයක් යටතේ සෞඛ්‍ය සේවාව අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවාවන් විදිහට පත් කරලා ගැසට් නිවේදන නිකුත් කිරීම විහිළුවට තුඩු දෙන කාරණයක් වෙනවා.
Meanwhile, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has stated that he will build an economy in the country that can provide relief to the people before the end of this year. During a meeting with the Sangha committee members, the President emphasized his commitment to creating economic stability in the country within the next year and a half.
The President stated that he will urgently work to appoint a competent authority to the Pali and Buddhist University and to turn it into an international centre of Buddhist studies. The President's media division noted this proposal made by the Sangha committee members is essential and will definitely be implemented to raise the quality of Pirivan education. During the discussion, the President also accepted the invitation by the Mahanayaka Theras of the Malwatu and Askari chapters to hold the 2023 Vesak festival under the government sponsorship in a way that would bring about Buddhist revival in the country.
In more local news, the death toll from the accident in Hulangwangua, Hatton, along the Norton Bridge, Diagala Road on Sunday evening increased to 3. A bus carrying pilgrims on a return journey from Adams Peak met with the accident at around 9:30 p.m.
Sri Lanka police said a bus carrying pilgrims on a return journey from Adams Peak met with the accident at around 9:30 p.m. The bus had veered off the road and fallen into a 100 feet deep precipice in the Hulangwangua area in Hatton. Sri Lanka police said that the tragedy took place when the bus was attempting to give way for another bus that was approaching in the opposite direction. Police added that at the time of the incident, around 30 passengers were inside the bus. It was reported that the passengers had travelled from Maharagama. 2 women were among those who died in the accident. Twenty-seven individuals who were injured in the accident are currently receiving treatment at the Navalanka Hospital and at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital.
Up next is Crime Watch.
Crime Watch.
A man was beaten to death in Angulana. Sri Lanka police said the man was attacked based on a personal dispute. The victim of the attack was rushed to the Lunava hospital but was ruled dead upon admission. He was identified as a 27-year-old from the same area.
I ran out with my daughter when I heard that they were beating my son. When I went there, someone was holding him. We spoke to him, but he never spoke back. They had tried to beat my son and place him on the train tracks. If someone had not pulled him out, they planned to keep his body on the tracks for the next train.
The suspects responsible for the murder had fled the area and a police investigation is underway.
Crime Watch.
In more local news, the harvest for the Maha season is being cultivated across many areas. However, farmers lament that their harvest has dropped considerably.
These are the paddy fields located in the Dembaragawa on the left bank of the Kirama-Oya border in the Mathura Hambantota districts. Over 300 acres of rice fields were cultivated this season, and despite starting to reap the harvest, the farmers are in disappointment. This is mainly due to the drop in the harvest in addition to the existing economic woes. The farmers claim that the fertilizer crisis led to this situation.
Meanwhile, the Govibime Mitra organization of the Polonnaru Parakrama Samudra Farmers Movement convened a media briefing and requested that they be given a proper price for their harvests.
In the last season, cabinet approval was given to purchase paddy at 120 rupees, and they said there were no funds in the treasury. The farmers don't even know this. The minister doesn't know this either. The president says he will purchase paddy at 100 rupees in Jaffna. The president promised to purchase at 100 rupees the same paddy that he promised to purchase last time at 120 rupees. Last season it was 120 rupees. Now it is 100 rupees. What has happened to the farmers? There was a price control for paddy. Kiri Samba had 130 rupees while Samba had 125 rupees. Nadu had a price of 120 rupees. All of a sudden, Ranil Wickramasinghe said that the control price for paddy is 100 rupees. Then what is the relief that we received to reduce the prices of paddy? The urea that we bought for 1,500 rupees is now 10,000 rupees. The TSP we bought for 1,500 rupees is now 23,000 rupees. The muriate of potash that was available at 1,500 rupees is now 19,500. The problem is who made the decision to make the price that was 120 and 130 rupees to 100 rupees. There is no proper surrounding for us to live anymore. When our paddy is bought for 100 rupees, we cannot continue farming. We ask for at least a price of 130 rupees. Farmers cannot survive. Nadu paddy's control price is 130 rupees. Kiri Samba must be given at 150 rupees. If not, us farmers will be in a worse situation we can be in.
News First with the people.
In international news, Mark Zuckerberg announced on Instagram yesterday, Meta is testing a subscription service which will allow Instagram and Facebook users to pay to get verified.
Meta Verified will start at $11.99 a month on the web or $14.99 a month on iOS, and the company will begin releasing it in Australia and New Zealand this week and more countries soon. The service also comes with other perks, extra protection from impersonation accounts and direct access to customer support. To avoid fake accounts, customers who want to get the blue badge would need to provide government ID which matches their profile name and picture. Users must also be above 18 to be eligible. Zuckerberg wrote in an Instagram broadcast channel, "This new feature is about increasing authenticity and security across our services."
Finally, in your sports news, New Zealand crushed Sri Lanka in a one-sided ICC Women's T20 World Cup clash at Boland Park, South Africa.
This team should be very heartened with.
It was the Kiwis who won the toss and opted to bat first at Boland Park, and they made a strong start with Bernardine, the only wicket to fall in the power play, departing for a lively 32 from 20 balls. And Susie Bates was joined in the middle by Amelia Kerr to lift the Kiwis to 75 for 1 at the midway point of the innings before building towards a big finish. Superb half-centuries from Susie Bates and Amelia Kerr helped New Zealand post a sizable 162 for 3 in the first innings. Sri Lanka knew that their top-heavy batting lineup would need to fire from the off if they were to pull off the chase, and they lost early wickets to hurt their chances of chasing down the target. Harshita Samaravikrama was first to go for 8 from 14, with Vishmi Gunaratne departing soon after without troubling the scorers. All 6 New Zealand bowlers took wickets as the chase crumbled under the pressure, with the score at 40 for 6 in the 11th over, and key batter Chamari Atapattu one of those back in the dugout. Sri Lanka collapsed to 60 all out as they went in search of a win that would have sent them through to the knockout stages.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I've been Senita Senanayake. Take care and stay safe.
At the Kitiyen, that's the ready. සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ. News First YouTube චැනලය අදම සබස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග.
News First News Alert ඔබේ ජංගම දුරකථනයටත් ඔබ ඩයිලොග් පාරිභෝගිකයෙක් නම් English Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NFU ලෙසත් Singlish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NUS ලෙසත් Tanglish Alert සේවාව ලබා ගැනීමට NAT ලෙසත් ටයිප් කර 678ට සෙන්ඩ් කරන්න.